Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where in this grand world you might be. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. It's a new week, blank canvas. Let's paint pictures, let's tell stories. The Highbury Squad Monday madness is here.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, boys and girls, no matter where in the world you might be. Thank you again for making us part of your day. We've got a wee technical glitch. Super Kev is having a bit of an issue coming on this evening. Gremlins in his system, no doubt. But if there's anyone who can basically terminate the gremlins, it's Super Kev, is it not? Squaddies, be remiss of me and rude of me to not. At ease, everyone at ease. How was your weekend? Let me know. Let me know what you did, what you got up to. You know, I still have a little bit of a cough, which hopefully won't come under, attack you guys at any point in this show. Still a bit sniffly. But other than that, thank you, Martin. I am feeling much better than I was. Still have the sweats a little bit, but we here. Nothing's going to hold us back. This is called the Keep Calm and Carry On series. A little bit different to the lockdown series, but with no football, we're here and we will be with you every single day this week. Hello to all the usual suspects in the house. Let me know where in the world you might be. You know, that's one of my favorite things to do. Mr. Hudson, good evening to you. You know, I've been knocked out since I got home. Absolutely knocked out. I think also that had a lot to do with just a non-stop schedule when I was in England. But my God, 101. Here he is, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell in the house. Better late than never. You know, we have some non-negotiables here, Kev.
At ease. So what's the non-negotiables?
Well, you know, then the same as Mikel Arteta's. Can't be late. So technically, you just pulled an Aubameyang.
Well, I weren't, was I?
No.
I weren't late.
Technology.
Well,
Who's
if you're not
hacking you,
late,
Kev?
if you're there but you can't get in, there's nothing I could do about that, my dear. Well, what you sending me home?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. Just giving you a little bit of George Graham, Mikel Arteta, you know, one of those. We got people in the house from Barbados, Basingstoke, the grand old US of A.
Done from Brixton.
I think Munich. Everybody, pop music. No, that's not the one. Yeah, broke those gremlin necks. If anyone can, it's Super Kev. He's here. Watching from Jamaica is Patrick, Super Kev.
Nice one.
We've got
Nice.
Toronto in the house. There's no bow tie on Mondays. And unfortunately, couldn't wear his on Thursday, but we'll leave it at that. It's going in the dossier. Don't start, Kev. Don't start. Kev, happy Monday. How was your weekend that you were going to be working pretty much every single day and ended up to be no work at all?
Well, no, I did get some work in, but obviously it weren't on the games, you know. It weren't on what I wanted it to be. But hey, listen, Hollywood Bulls and Geordie Pete on Saturday was a cracker. We had a good show. He's doing it live from the Dubliners in Dubai, which
Any
is
of you
great.
are down there?
Yeah, which is great. And you know, that really was the weekend. Caught up with friends and family.
Lovely.
And that was it. Now it's the start of another week and found out Arsenal's game versus PSV's off. So
I think the biggest question on a lot of Arsenal fans' lips is, and by the way, we've got Ethiopia, Melbourne, the Jersey channels, and we even found a Croydon for you back there.
hey,
So hopefully
that's
you
South.
saw
That'll
it.
do.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Kev, why is it one match can be policed and the other one can't? I mean, location. Like, what are you hearing from your neck of the woods?
Well, if I'm honest with you, it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Two London clubs, playing at home in Europe. One's on, one's not. And maybe the fact of the matter is that the Arsenal game is on the Thursday, but the deployment of all the police will not be on the Thursday. So to me, I don't get it. I've no idea. I've not heard anything to the detriment of, why Arsenal's game is off and another London team's game's on.
If we remember last year, for totally, non-reasons as well, Tottenham forfeited their Europa League conference match against Rennes, and they couldn't find a rescheduling for that, Kev, and in the end, that cost them 3 points. From what I understand regarding the Europa League, we have to play our match prior to the World Cup, but finding a spot for it is difficult. However, because of the number of games that we've played so far, that we wouldn't forfeit any points should we not play that game beforehand. The issue is that now another Premier League game would most likely be moved, and that game be moved to January. So I guess this is a pickle now, and it's a problem, and it was already going to be a problem with regards to having the World Cup sandwiched in between, which everyone's known about for a while, so that has been planned for. However, we've also talked a lot, Kev, about that World Cup. Maybe players come back injured. Now you're talking, it's a bit of a mess, isn't it, really?
It's all a mess, if I'm honest with you. And it's, look, you can't legislate for the passing of the Queen. You can't legislate for that. But Sophie, we kind of discussed it with Tom on Friday. The bottom line of it is this. How could all the other sports be on and not football? Football's the national sport. That makes it even more so that we have to play the games. Because how could all the other sports just play and all of a sudden the league, and remember, if it's the league's decision, they totally know what's going on. Let's be honest. They know how tight it is. They know how difficult the situation is, time-wise, fixture-wise, especially with the World Cup in the middle of the season. So everybody else played, but the Premier League don't, and there's going to be teams who are going to miss 2 games. Obviously, we're missing 2 games last Saturday and midweek. But, there's teams who didn't play last weekend and won't play next weekend. So
Kev, does it also have a lot to do in terms of our game being policed because the PSV fans would pack out their end? Bit of a different situation, perhaps, in terms of the fans coming in, the Dutch fans coming in, or I'm hearing also, were they even allowed in? It just seems a little messy.
Soph, look, the fact of the matter is, the games have categories, right? Games have categories. And obviously, if you know that the opposition fans are going to come in their droves and they're a bit lively, it has a different category. But we're talking European football here. So you show me if anybody's going to Chelsea who ain't going to pack out their end. It's not as if they get the whole end. Do you know what I mean? To me, it makes no sense because whichever team it is in Europe, the away fans tend to come in their droves. So I don't see that as a factor.
We even offered to play the game behind closed doors. Again, these are according to the sources. You can read for yourself. A lot of journalists online writing about what Arsenal have offered and in order to, keep this game going and not forfeit the fixture. And it's weird too, because I guess the Brentford game can go ahead. Brentford is a very small stadium, but also it's in the heart of West London, not the heart, but it's in, that part of London. you'd say and argue that those resources would be needed for the following day with regards to the capital hosting a state funeral. So it just it seems as well, Kev, that decorum has come into the discussion with regards to some fans. And like we've said on our show, everyone is welcome to their opinion. But what might have happened at games this weekend, again, that's speculative. But another thread that was being discussed and reported online as well. So all in all, Kev, I'll get to this kind of part of our first point is which player at our club do you think benefits the most from this kind of mini break, and which do you think benefits the least?
Well, the most has got to be Thomas Partey because it gives him a chance to shrug that tight thigh off. It's got to be Thomas Partey. Who it benefits the least, I suppose, is Sambi Lokonga, who's been playing. He's been starting. He's done all right as far as I'm concerned. But, if Thomas Partey's fit, and you should expect him to be right for Brentford, he's got to come straight back in. We've got to get back on the horse. We've got to win. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on Thomas Partey. I think that he's the one that we need back, and clearly we've seen how we play with and without him. In terms of benefiting the least, I would say not a player, but I actually think with the PSV game also gone now, Kev, for the time being, I think Mikel Arteta benefits maybe the least from this. Because when you've got that momentum, and again, you can tell me as a player, like the stop and start. Also, by the way, I just had a brain fart, Kev. Why can't we scrap the international break and keep the league stuff and play the league games then? Sorry, I digress a little bit, but I just thought of that. Why is that not the case?
Because it's already in the calendar.
Well, so are these games already on the calendar?
Yeah, but they're not played. So you have to find somewhere else to put them. But they're not going to change the internationals. No chance.
Right. All right. So I would say Mikel Arteta, Kev, and his staff. I think momentum is everything, especially when you've got the attention of these young players. I'm sure they've stayed together and stuck to their routine. I'm assuming as much as
But you
possible.
said player.
Kev.
You said which players does it benefit?
Oh, okay.
So if you,
all right,
now you twisted
player
it
or
on me.
manager?
Now listen, Soph, I agree. The momentum is with the momentum is with us. Yes, and we could have done with playing the games. Soph, you're right. We could have done with playing the games, and I agree with you. Yeah, it doesn't benefit Mikel or whatever, but everyone's in the same boat, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when someone mentioned it when the pandemic came and everything kind of had to come to an abrupt halt, something that nobody was planning. And again, here is a situation where, not really something that has happened, of course, out that nobody has any control over, and trying to deal with it and navigate around it is exceptionally difficult, especially when you've got multiple fixtures happening, different competitions. Everyone's got to try and liaise with each other. I mean, it just seems like a good time for our players to rest, but also momentum. I know that last game was really hard, and I was at that Manchester United game. But I think also bouncing back right away without having to think about that too long, Kev, is not going to be an issue for our team, or will be an issue for our team. Are they going to fester on that too much?
I don't think they'll fester on it, but you don't want it to linger. So having the first Europa League game and winning that one was great. And then you expect to kick on the weekend, into a league game, which you're expecting to win, and then it's taken away from yourself. It's difficult because all of a sudden now there's players who haven't kicked a ball for a while. And this was our problem last season. Anytime there was a break, Sophie, or anytime there was international duty, when we came back, we didn't look the same.
No.
And that, for me, this Brentford game is so important at the weekend, because it's one that we can win. It's one that we need to win. But after a layoff, I don't want to see a drop off, and that's what we've had before.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit of football. There's nothing we can do about this congestion, the postponements. We just have to roll with the punches. What I will say is that conveniently for broadcasters, changing games and times to benefit and suit broadcasting, you would think then take into consideration, once again, fans have been put out of pocket in some cases, paid for accommodations, travel. And here we are again with the fan being the one that pays the biggest price of all, taking time off work, flown in from international locations. So look, we hope that it'll all come out in the wash. And if you've paid for stuff, I'm sure you'll get your money back and we move on. Kev, with that game in play this weekend, I wanted to ask you this question. We touched on it a little bit last week. I think another player who may have benefited from this break is Gabriel. I think if we were starting this weekend against Everton, he wouldn't be playing. Are you carrying on that sentiment through to this weekend against Brentford, knowing that obviously Ivan Toney's been a real massive handful already this season? Do you play Benjamin White at the back with William Saliba and rest Gabriel and bring Tommy in at right back?
No, you keep the same team. I don't see why there'll be change. I think Gabriel's done okay. He's had a wobbly couple of moments, but he plays for me until there's real problems. I think him and Saliba. I think Ben White's done great at right back. I wouldn't change it at all. I wouldn't change it. I'd keep it as it is.
So despite kind of Gabriel not having the best game against Manchester United, not really having a good game against a very weak Zurich side, is it because we just, we've only lost the one game, everyone's been decent. When you saw Tomiyasu come in, I think in that Europa League game, you weren't particularly enamored. No, the Manchester United game, you felt like he was at fault for one of the goals, if I remember correctly, Kev. Is that your thinking?
I thought he was at fault for one of the goals.
No, there was a move where you felt like Tomiyasu came in and he didn't help the back line. Maybe I'm thinking about
no, not
maybe
me.
Tom Canton.
Yeah, that weren't me. No, I just think truthfully, I just think Tomiyasu needed the minutes in midweek. He really needed the minutes because he's not played a lot of football. He's been out a long time. I think Ben White's done fine at right back. I really do. And us being top of the league tells us that he's done fine. So I think we keep it as it is. If there is problems moving forward, then obviously the manager has the opportunity to change it. But while you're riding high, you stick with the players who's took you there. For me, anyway.
Do you think that we're still riding high even after that Manchester United loss? Because we're still top of the league.
Yeah, of course. If you're going to be downhearted and we're top of the league, you shouldn't be involved with the game. Anyone could take a loss, and that was a tough loss. I agree, it was a tough loss. But no, we're top of the league. We got a team who we can relate to. We roll again.
So Kenny's saying, I really don't understand this whole Gabriel being so bad. Am I the only one not seeing it?
No, Kenny, you're not the only one, but he has had some tough moments, that's for sure. He has.
Okay, let's move on to point number 3. So we've done the fixtures, the Premier League, the Europa League, which player it benefits the most and least. Kev's centre-back pairing against Brentford. Number 4 on today's Monday Madness Top 5 talking points. Kev, Mikel Arteta seems to be reinventing or trying to reinvent Kieran Tierney. Tom shared his heat map with us when he was on the show on Friday. There seems to be a trending topic on this front and a growing narrative about how he's trying to make him play a little bit more inverted. Can I ask you a question that is two-pronged here in terms of, can they both play together, or do you start one over the other? There seems to be this growing swell for working a lot more one-on-one with Kieran Tierney. What's your take on all of this stuff, Kev?
Well, Kieran Tierney's obviously seen how good Zinchenko is. Let's have it right. Kieran Tierney's come in, he's played up and down the left-hand side. He's seen what a difference it makes to the team where Zinchenko moves into midfield. Now, if he can't do it, that puts him at a disadvantage, Soph. That's for sure. We've seen the likes of Kyle Walker at Manchester City, who was an up and down right back, being able to go in that midfield and play. Obviously, it's going to be a bit foreign to Kieran Tierney. But you know what? In that midweek game, in the Zurich game, I saw Kieran Tierney do not too bad. He was getting on the end of things and he got a couple of shots off. And it's not going to be natural to him, Sophie. That's for sure. But to make this Arsenal team tick, maybe he has to take on some of those traits and learn how to do it a bit. Not all the time, because he's not fully comfortable. But obviously there are times where he can do it because he can push into the midfield. One thing he is, Sophie, he can tackle, he can run, and he can get close to people, and he can shoot. So opportunities are going to open up for Kieran Tierney for playing in that position. Obviously, he's not a Zinchenko. We know that. But if he can do that and Granit Xhaka gets comfortable, we've seen what that does for Xhaka. Xhaka then ends up further forward and making real problems for the opposition in their box if Kieran Tierney could do that. So, you know, I'm pleased to see he's at least trying to do it.
Yeah. So for you, it's a clear case of he needs to learn how to play that way should Zinchenko be injured versus him being Arteta's...
Just the up and down fullback that he normally is.
Mm-hmm.
If he can add, not that he has to play that way like Zinchenko, but if he can add some of those traits of moving into midfield and being reliable on the ball, then that makes us, we've seen it actually transforms our team a little bit.
So remember a couple months ago, I asked you the question, you know, when we were talking about, this goes into kind of point, it's a dovetail of point number 4 into 5, but on the other side of the pitch, Kev, where you and I've spoken often about how capable we think Benjamin White, and how he can play a variety of roles, but he's not the jack of all trade and master of none. He's actually a good footballer who's going to add that versatility to this team, and especially the way Arteta wants to play, very much like Pep, is have square holes to put in square holes, but then, you know, have that hybrid player who can do, you know, a variety of things. With that said, the way that Zinchenko operates in that position with Martinelli and clearly brings out a lot of great things in Martinelli, even though Martinelli is as disciplined as he is on and off the ball, do you still feel comfortable that we're not missing anything on that right side without a natural, like without, say, Tomiyasu in that position or a natural right back? Can you talk me through that a little bit in terms of how Saka seems to have done a little bit too much on that side defensively, maybe, and that's why I've been critical of him, because he's had to actually work harder, even harder off the ball in some of these games? What's your take on that?
I don't get where you're going with it, but for me, Ben White's done fine. But
No, but
nobody.
does Tommy
Hold on.
offer
Let me finish.
something?
Let me
I was going
finish.
to help define it
Yeah,
if you
but
didn't know where I was going with it.
let me just. Yeah, but you say. Let me just say my piece, and then we could go. Against Crystal Palace, I thought Ben White had his hands full with Zaha. He dealt with Zaha perfectly. The right-hand side was probably the more productive, seeing where Saka got down the right-hand side and crossed it, and we scored from there. Martinelli looked very sharp, but there weren't a lot of production down that left-hand side. We were good passing, but there weren't a lot of production. Against Bournemouth, I thought Ben White, that was one of Ben White's best games. Ends up getting round the back of Saka, getting round the back on the overlap, cutting the ball back. Jesus takes a touch and Odegaard finishes. I don't hear any complaints about Ben White being a right back in that game. In the first 5 games, if you're top of the league and you're winning, makes a couple of great challenges, plays pretty well, although we should have been out of sight for our home games. A lot of our home games should not even have been close. The Leicester game should have been 4-0 up in the first 25 minutes. And I could say the same about Villa. We should have been out of sight. But the fact of the matter is, we weren't clinical enough. But I thought Ben White has had a good games in the majority of the game. And yeah, maybe he's not that overlapping attacking guy, but he doesn't need to be. He's a support system for Saka. Support. Because what we want is, and what we need Saka to be the one to pick the ball up and drive. That's what we need. Yeah, at times when the time is right, we can get the fullback round the outside. But like I said, against Manchester United, I thought Saka, that was his best game of the season. For me, was his best game. So that's why I'm saying, I don't know what you mean about, a right back, because you could see that's the way we're playing now. There ain't too many fullbacks going past the wide men. Because you see Martinelli driving, you see Saka driving, you see Jesus when he moves out to the left, he's driving in and playing balls into Xhaka in there. Mm-hmm. So we're not really getting the fullbacks round the outside that much.
Yep. And I'm a huge fan of Benjamin and have been since day one. And I think he's been doing a fantastic job and a bit of an unsung hero. I think there were a few players that made mistakes against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and we didn't lose just because of one player. I agree also with what Teng Wang's saying here. It's so nice that we can debate about who is better to play at right back after over a decade finally. And I think the same thing in the left back position too. Kev and I have wanted these competitive situations at the club, so players stay on their toes for so long. Everyone was so enabled and just knew they were going to start every single week, and now that's just not a guarantee. And that's the one thing I do love about Mikel Arteta. He's made that very clear to everyone. Kev, the one thing I was going to say about Tomiyasu, which I wanted to add, and was aerially, if you feel like there's a lack of dominance, or because Gabriel and Saliba are so good in the air, that perhaps that's not something that we're missing. And it's not like he bombs down the right, bopping it on his head the whole way. When you have those two playing at the back, perhaps that's something else that Arteta takes into consideration.
Well, the question I would ask you, Soph, about that is, are we struggling in the air?
Not right now, no.
No, but so we can't talk about aerially then, can we, really?
I think because last season he helped
we can't
out
talk
Benjamin.
about last season. We've got to talk about now. We've played, 6 games? And we haven't struggled in the air. Yeah, with the last game, we've had a bit of technical issues and problems getting penetrated. Yeah, I agree with that. But aerially, no, I don't. Listen, I think Ben White is more than capable, especially at right back, because he's always got Saliba there.
Yeah.
So again, I think we discussed this earlier on in the season, where we said having Saliba there might be that insurance policy for Ben White or for Tomiyasu, so they can give us more. Again, no, everybody was writing Ben White off against Crystal Palace, if you remember rightly. Shouldn't be playing him there, shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. He had a stormer. So, again, I think we should just, cool down a little bit. Tommy Arsenal will get his time to improve. He will get his minutes. But I think in that first 11 right now, I think Ben White hasn't let anybody down, and I think he deserves the job.
Yeah. Winston says Tommy's just a better defender for me, but Benjamin has done a good job. In general, in chat, he's getting a lot of love from the listeners. Reze says Tommy struggles against the likes of St. Maximum, Zaha. Benjamin White is better than him against these guys. Let's see. Bellerin lost interest in football. Well, that's true. I remember the days of playing a half-fit Bellerin, says Don Juan. Totally. Does Benjamin White start for England? Maguire and Gomez absolute trash this season. I just don't see how he's not on the plane. He's definitely going. Kev, what's your take on Benjamin White and his England prospects for this particular World Cup?
I think the fact he's playing right back as well now is a massive tick in the box for Ben White. Massive tick. Because we know we can play centre half. We know we could play centre or right of a free. But now he's playing right back and he's doing it at a very high level for the league leaders. It's
Kev.
It's no, but it's because you see. So what tends to happen is if you've got to give props or we've got to destroy, right? Now, if Arsenal was struggling and Ben White was playing right back, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So the fact of the matter is we are league leaders and he is playing right back and we're top of the league with Ben White at right back. What's the problem? Ben White is doing himself a lot of good in Gareth Southgate's eyes playing right back in this Arsenal team. 100% he is. And also with Saka in front of him. That's the other link.
It's ready-made, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the other link.
And Ramsdale tossing it out to the right. To the right.
See, you're on my thinking, so you're on my thinking.
I mean, Pickford could get injured because he's going to be his starter. The only way Ramsdale's starting the World Cup is if Pickford's injured. Do we agree on that one, Kev?
Yeah, Pickford's number one. Possession is 9/10 of the law.
Yeah.
Right. And Pickford hasn't let England down. Let's be honest. He had a really good Euros. So
I'm not laughing at us. I'm laughing with Kev because of the way he says it and delivers it. It's just
top of the league and all that. Yeah. Hey, do you know what? So don't. And listen, we're still top of the league. We've had a blip. We're still top of the league. Enjoy it. We talked about this before. Enjoy being top, and the players should. Fans should. Players should.
Okay, I'm going to get one more point, top 5 talking point out to Kev, and then get your questions in. I'm starting to save a bunch already. Okay, you're going to get at least, I'm on time today. You're going to get 20 minutes of questions. So make sure that you get them all in. And I agree about,
you're just moving quick because of my internet.
Moving quick to your internet. And I don't want to get in trouble because I think I my non-negotiables at the very beginning.
Oh, I loved it. I got that the wrong way, was it?
Yeah, I got that look on the thumbnail, the one where you're looking at me like this with the steam coming off your head. Newman, why is Casey so moody?
Oh, jeez. Look, I'm happy because I don't see your art.
Okay, sending some questions. Kev, here's the last one for you. I kind of, as much as I appreciate what these fellas have done for the club, I'm kind of tired hearing about whether they're talking or releasing a book or doing whatever. David Dean says that Arsene Wenger was very upset in terms of his exit from the Arsenal.
Sure he was, Soph.
Yeah, of course he was, right? I mean...
Yeah. He'd been at the club such a long time, and he ran the show. So the fact of the matter is, when there's division in the Arsenal fan base and division in the stands, it's difficult for Arsene Wenger to take. Because when you think about it, so the first decade or so, the success was unprecedented. It was incredible. And then we kind of went into crazy mode, not getting in the correct players, not getting in the spot, not getting that spine of the team in place. And that cost us in the end, and it cost Arsene Wenger. It cost him. And he wouldn't deal with certain agents. And, we could go through it as much as we like. Fact of the matter is, Arsene Wenger's a proper legend. Probably the best manager Arsenal's ever had, arguably. But when it comes to time to end, Soph, a lot of the time, it never ends well.
I mean, and also, it's so hard to replace people, employees, coaches, executives that have been there for a really long time. Manchester United have not won the league since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And they've been sixes and sevens. The infrastructure of their club completely fell apart when he left. The difference, I think, for us was the club started falling apart when he was still there. I'll start with a couple of questions for you, Kev, from people on this subject. Let's see, where did it go? Someone was asking, does Kevin think that Arsene Wenger stayed too long? Yanto, here we go.
I think he did. I think Arsene Wenger helped, or should I say aided, in divisions between the fan base, because there were times where, was it the Chelsea final, where he said he's going to make his decision on his future after the game. And then it would have been the perfect time to say, I've had a great time, guys. Just beat Chelsea in the FA Cup final, won, and to go. And then they announced that he's signed another 2-year deal. And that caused more division between the different factions in the club and in the stands, because the debate was out whether Arsene Wenger was the right manager for the job anymore. I think that people knew the team would always play attractive football. The problem is, Sophie, attractive football wasn't winning anything anymore. We weren't challenging in the league.
In the league, yeah.
We weren't challenging. And the cup, yeah, great. Win some silverware. And you know what? We could always say, other teams would kill for an FA Cup. But we're the Arsenal, Soph. We're the Arsenal. Being successful and having Thierry introduce the Queen to the Arsenal boys, it's massive. Peter Hillwood, their proper chairman, who loves success. Our football club loves success. And if we're honest, so the squad we had weren't good enough to challenge for the title, unfortunately. And at times, we were only a couple of players short. And if we'd have addressed that, I'm sure we would have had a real challenge. But again, Arsene Wenger, didn't see it that way.
He definitely became stubborn and set in his ways, and at the same time, changed English football for all the right reasons. I just found it interesting, of course, stating the obvious, David Dein. And, David Dein, I think, a legend of the club too, in terms of what he did, Kev, and how he turned the fortunes of the club around and was part of and instrumental of modernising English football, especially once the Premier League came to be. It was kind of archaic behind the scenes, to be quite honest. And you only have to kind of watch a few docs to educate yourselves about all that. I just wish that sometimes, in a time where the club's doing well, that maybe we just don't use the rearview mirror for some of this stuff. But yeah, it can't be helped. Okay, those are the top 5 talking points: fixtures and the injuries and the pile up. Which player benefits the most and least? Your CB pairing against Brentford, Zinchenko and Tierney, Tierney's heat map, and the growing narrative about Mikel Arteta wanting him to learn a little bit more of the trade of that inverted position. David Dean talking about Arsene Wenger and him being upset. Tomorrow's show, by the way, is going to be fun. We're going to be predicting the next 5 games of the season. But before we do that, you get an opportunity to ask Kev all sorts of questions because I am very timely today. So you can thank me, really.
You're early,
Liz.
You're early.
early. It's because I got my workman shirt on.
Nice.
Right. Liz says, does Partey start against Brentford if he's fit?
Yep. If he's fit, he starts. That's for sure. And you know the funny thing, Liz, and everyone, you know, we're talking about Partey's this and Partey. Do you realize when Partey's not there how much what he does? Oh, Partey hasn't had a good game and Partey doesn't do this, and we've been rock solid. But it's the things that you don't see him do that are the most important. You know, the presence of mind in midfield, shutting down lanes, you know, simple passing, but just being there. He's someone that the opposition have to account for. You know, he changes how they defend as well. So,
why are you tired of Partey? Explain. You can't put something like that up on the screen and not explain it, Kenny.
Kenny, come on.
Explain it. Okay, here we go. Evgeny wants to see Marquinhos on the bench for Everton. Kev, is this gonna be something we're gonna start seeing? You know, you've been there, you've been managed in and out of squads when you're first kicking off your career. What's your take on whether he makes the bench this weekend?
Well, Sophie, one thing I will say, Marquinhos done himself no harm whatsoever with that performance against Zurich. A goal, an assist, and he played really well. So he was our star man. You know, that left foot where he can cut back on his left from the right-hand side and whip balls in. I'm sure Jesus was licking his lips thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind some of that. So I could see him being on the bench for sure. Of course I can.
Yep. I mean, there's no reason why not. You know, I think he's definitely a manager that rewards players, isn't he, Kev? You do well, you make your mark, you get on the bench. So yeah, I mean, I think people think he's going to push Saka. You know,
And
that's why players are there.
Fit. And ESR's not fit, so
yeah,
has a space.
Exactly. Let's go to Elliot's question. Do we bring in any players during the January transfer window, and who would you like to see? Gosh, well, Kev wanted players to still come in the summer transfer window, so I'm assuming his answer to this is going to be absolutely 100%.
Of course we do. We need. I still think we need 2 midfield. We need 1 attacker, whether it's a hybrid striker, wide player, etc. That's minimum of 3. If to be greedy, we could do with probably another defender, if I'm honest. So I'd love 4, but you know what? I'll take 2.
All right. Kev's going to take 2. I hope that we, let's see where we're at. This is going to be one of those roller coaster rides of a season, isn't it, Kev? It's 100%. Already feeling that way. So
it's going to be crazy, especially with the World Cup. I mean, having a break mid-season, so it's going to be weird.
Kev, a lot of Arsenal fans are worried that Jesus did not get picked for the Brazil squad. We touched on this with Tom on Friday. I'm happy that he's not in the squad. The manager, apparently, according to Tim Stillman, he's saying that the manager is testing some options up front and he knows what Jesus can do. Therefore, that is why he hasn't chosen him. Are you of the same ilk as Mr. Stillman on that one?
Yeah, Jesus normally starts. He normally plays. And listen, look at the form he's been in. You know, Jesus has been incredible this season. So it's nothing more than, the manager wants to have a look at other players just in case. Jesus is if he's fit, he's a stick on to go.
Yeah, of course, everyone's gotten exceptionally excited about Richarlison. So, we know how that one goes. Rizai says, Kev, I noticed before when player goes out for international duty, the next couple of Premier League games, they don't perform well. Kev mentioned our form a little bit at the top of the show on that one. What happens there? Tactical information overload or fatigue? What's your take on that one, Kev?
Sometimes a bit of fatigue because of the travel. You got to remember when you go on international duty, it's not a holiday camp. You're going in there and you're training. You train 2 times a day, and then obviously you got the tactics. Let's say the game it's a Monday today. Let's say the game was Wednesday, so you train twice today. You'll train maybe once tomorrow, and you train on the day of the game, and then you'll play Wednesday night. And then obviously if they're playing in Brazil, some of the boys, or you're playing away or home, wherever it is, then you've got travel. And you get back in, and then you go straight into the training ground. And so it's and when you've got a lot of players like that, again, everyone drops 1%, and you got a problem on your hands. That's what tended to happen to us last season. Now, with more confidence, you tend to see the best teams know how to win. So even if they're not playing well, do you know what? After international duty, they'll go on and they'll win the game 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever. And you'll get around it that when you think, oh, we didn't play well, but we won. So you move on. Winning kills all. But for us, especially last season, we couldn't afford any slip-ups. But we did. And the last one, which was the most telling, was when we had international duty. We came back, we played Crystal Palace, we played Brighton and Southampton, and got beaten all of them. That told us everything. So we can't have that again.
No, and we also can't have excuses considering most top teams have to deal with exactly the same issues we do. And this is the point, and why Kev said when you guys asked him in January, when he said, we need 8 players, and everyone was like, what? He didn't mean in one window, but definitely between January and summer and this January, that I think has been proven to be spot on in terms of what we need. Although there's a note here for you from, let's see, someone questioning why you would want a defender. No, not that one. I'll find it. Here's one for you from Shafiq. Hi, Kevin, Sophie. Thanks for a great show. Thank you for listening. I worry about October 22nd fixtures. If we don't do well, will it determine our season? Okay, rightfully so, Kev. There are a lot of fans who are starting to worry already about the fixtures, the pile-up, and also the run that we were going to have, right? If you look at the next 5 games, there's some toughies in there.
They're big games, aren't they? They're the big games. But again, these are the ones we should look forward to, because it's not as if we haven't played these teams before. We have played these teams before, and we're a better team now than we were last season. So, listen, whatever the result can be, it can be. That's for sure. But I go into this a lot more confident than I did last season. That's for sure, Soph. I think we're better equipped.
Yeah, and as disappointed as some Arsenal fans are with how the window ended, and remember, if we didn't have the injuries, then no one would have been so upset. But everyone knew that we needed cover from Thomas Partey, even from the last transfer window, which I think we all agree on. We still acquired 2 players that have had a significant impact immediately on the team, and that is something that we've not had in a long time in terms of players being able to come in and have an immediate impact on the team. No matter what you say, Benjamin White did that last summer, Ramsdale did that last summer, and Tomiyasu also did that last summer. I know Nuno fell off. He had an impact for a couple of games, but look, he's someone else who's gone off and doing quite well so far in Liga, and there's no reason why he can't come back, Kev, and be a better player. If Saliba can do it, then why can't a player like Nuno? Time will tell. Sambi, a lot still want to go out on loan. I think he's proven over the last 2 or 3 games that he has something to offer. Over a short-term period, though, Kev, not a long-term period. This is where we get into a little bit of bother, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's why, for the person who said, why do we want another defender? because if we have if we had a couple of injuries, and no disrespect, Rob Holding, who is a really good pro, has proven when it comes down to some of them big games where we need a defender who can keep his head, Rob Holding couldn't hold it in place against Spurs, and he got too attracted to Son, got sent off, and it went from bad to worse after that, didn't it?
Kev, can I throw in a question in the mix? Because I was watching the Manchester United Europa League game. How
isn't that typical?
How, Kev? How did they beat United? Didn't finish their dinner that night. They did against us. Was that the difference? I mean, can you tell me?
Of course, that's the difference. And always remember, Soph, anytime Arsenal go up to Manchester, there's a lot of blood under that bridge between our two clubs. It is a huge game. We're up for it, but they are definitely up for it. We've seen it happen in the past where we're flying and they're not, and they give us as much trouble as we can handle. It's always a tough place to go. Yeah, the referee and the VAR went against us at a certain point, which could have made the difference. If we take the lead, it's a different game. But one thing I will say, Soph, is they showed us how to be clinical that day. They really showed us how to be clinical, expose certain things in our team, what many others couldn't. So, again, maybe that's what we needed. We needed to get a little bit of exposure to a team like that to make us better.
I do love how that VAR, that call went against them. I'm sorry, no sympathy from me whatsoever. Everyone's spitting blood. Oh, that's not a penalty. I'm like, who cares?
Oh, you see,
what
comes around goes around. So
I felt like I was in high school, Kev, secondary school. Like, see, I'm glad.
Yeah. You should have heard him up this end, I tell you.
Right. Let's get a couple more questions in here. Kev, what do you make of this kid, Mudryk?
I like him.
Have you seen much of him, Kev?
I've seen a few games of his. A few games. I can't say I know a lot, but whenever I've seen him, he's looked lively. He's looked good. Young lad, very gifted. Wait, what's going on over there? Listen,
it's been a little accident. Carry on, Kev.
I truly believe he's the right profile for Arsenal. He seems to have a great attitude. And again, I think he likes the Arsenal. Obviously, his captain's at Arsenal, so he's definitely going to want to fit. He's probably rigging, Zinny and saying, listen, speak to the manager, so get me over there. Whatever happens, get me over there. But so he's doing pretty well for himself at Shakhtar. He's looking the part. Now he's got linked to Arsenal. Everybody's watching him now, Soph. But I'd like Arsenal to get Sophie. I'd like Arsenal to have all the weapons. So no matter what happens, we could spin, we could chop, we could change, and we're just as strong whether we change it or we don't. That's what I'd like. Two teams, we can go win the cups, the domestic cups, we could change the team and still be dynamic, still be strong, still be real dangerous. And we can change it back in the league and still be top or challenging for the top. That's where we've got to be.
Yeah. What I also like is there's, the team seem to get along, and they definitely have this vibe and energy about them. Back in the day we had a large French contingent. We had some Dutch players. There seems to be a nice little rapport between the Brazilian players, the British players, and getting another Ukrainian in, mentally we know how strong they've had to be over the last year or so, Kev, in terms of what's happening with that. But most importantly, he seems like a really talented footballer. I know that Tom Canton, our good friend over at the Guna Talk TV, did a good player profile on him. Go check it out. And we certainly will be keeping our eye on him over the coming weeks as well. Kev, we're going to end up on a couple fun ones for you. Who had the best and worst dress sense in the Arsenal dressing room in your days? Thought we'd move away from. There's going to be plenty of time this week to talk about the game at the weekend. And we're going to be doing a few fun bits this week as well for you. Keep our spirits up. Kev?
I think I've answered that one already previously. I'm easily the best. Easily the best dressed. And the worst, you could put Tony Adams in an Armani suit, it'd still look like crap.
Kev, can you wait for his sequin tops?
Oh, God. Listen, I don't watch it, but I'm sure I'll watch it on replay, right?
Just fast forward to Tony's bits.
Oh, that's all I'll watch. I just watch Tone, but believe you me, Tony, he agreed himself back in the day. Don't call him Rodders for nothing.
I mean, just reminders, Kev, about the old. Look at this though. That's style. Teaching the young lad there how it's done. Nice. You even had the headset around your neck. You were beat by Dr. Dre before it even came out.
Exactly, mate. Got to teach him. Had to teach him.
Brilliant stuff. That's an epic Monday madness, you guys.
No room for any more.
Well, I mean, I'm trying
to. By the way, no. What's the likes? Because I saw some. We got 167 or some, and we need 200 likes. What's going on?
We almost have 500. We've got 450 people in live chat right now,
so and we need 225.
Our chief like officer is in the house. Tammy Steels, our chief like officer, please reveal the numbers. We also
56, nearly 57 minutes in.
All right,
and we're not even halfway.
182, Kev.
Come on, squaddies, man. You're wasting my time, man. Come on.
It's gone up to 192, 94 now. We need another 50.
Russ, get them going in the chat, Russ. Come on.
Yeah, roll someone up, Russ. What's all the politeness this evening? There's a lot of I like it when they're polite. Lynn keeps pushing. Lynn, he's already said no. Oh, you got a different question. Okay, Lynn. Do you start Marquinhos over Saka? Not yet, right, Kev?
Yeah, I wouldn't. No, not Brentford. As I said, I thought Saka's best game was against Man United. He scored. I think Marquinhos didn't do himself any harm by playing so well against Zurich, but I think obviously that spot Saka's. Could he come on for Saka? Of course he could. If it's not going well, because Marquinhos is a handful. We've seen that. So, yeah, he's done himself no harm.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that we've got these unknowns, these unpolished diamonds, and just waiting to see kind of how they're all going to come to fruition, Kevin. Of course, we would want them to shine in those opportunities they're gonna have, and there's going to be plenty in Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup for sure. Should we try and sign James Justin or Tariq Lamptey, Kev?
No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't. We've got other positions what we've got to prioritize.
Gunnar Ross wants to know your 11 v Brentford. I think you're going with exactly the same 11 that started against
Same 11
United.
If Partey's fit, one change. If Partey's not fit, same 11.
Yes, I'm going to agree with Super Kev on that 100%. Let's see. Got that one there. Bum. Kev, is it normal? Here we go. Kev, is it normal to love Bukayo Saka as much as I do? If he ever leaves, I'll be heartbroken. Aw, Dave, bless.
Dave, it is normal because you know what? We got to remember, Saka has come from the root of the Arsenal, Hale End. That's our root. He's the fruit of our Arsenal tree. And he is blossomed in this Arsenal side. So, listen, let me tell you something. It's better that we love him. And I can't wait for him to announce when he signs his new deal. Because apparently they're very, very, very close. So him signing his new deal, Saliba signing his new deal will be fantastic for us. And we don't want him to leave, Dave. We don't want your heart broken. That's for sure.
Kev, are you saying he's the root of the fruit?
No, I said he's from the root of our club. He is the fruit of our Arsenal tree. And we love him. Him ESR, although ESR, he's really got to get himself together, get that fitness and that strength up because he's suffered more injuries than not. But Saka, he's a special, special kid.
I think Emile Smith-Rowe could be sold next season. Just a hunch. Just my 2 cents. Guna Work says, should we risk Partey or give him the rest of the international break to get back to full fitness? Kev wants to start him if he's fit and ready to go. Kev, resting? Again, you don't believe in all that, do you?
The rest of international break, he's got to play internationals. He plays for Ghana and he's been called up. So I'd much rather he gets a game in the Premier League and helps us win, go away and then come back and he's ready, as opposed to no Premier League football and then push him back into Premier League football. Much rather he get a game in. Even if it's for an hour. So I'd rather him play an hour.
Okay, Chief Like Officer, and now we are promoting Guna Russ to Deputy Chief Like Officer. Please get your numbers in for us. We would appreciate it very much. Need to see those. We've got our next question on the bottom, but of course, don't forget to go visit our friends at zenithcoins.com and get yourself a beautiful Arsenal. It's physical. It's not digital. Okay, yes, guys, it's physical. The real deal. Comes with a certificate of authenticity. And if you put in HS20, you get 20% off as well. Highbury Squad special coin will be here soon. And well done to the listener who won one at the Gooners v Cancer event in London. Yours is on deck and noted. And we'll be giving away a ton of them during the season. But when I say a ton, I mean like limited, because that's how exclusive they are. You become part of an exclusive club. So thanks to our good friends over at Zenith Coins. Right, we're at 228. Still not good enough.
And is that more than half?
We had 450.
No, but is that more than half now?
Let's see. 230 now, Kev. I don't think so. I mean, you know me and maths, we do not go well together.
And 228 is enough. But if that's more than half, then you could go into Sophie time now, then, can't you?
All right, cool. Let's answer the listener who asked you if you think Colin, I think it was, that had a question about Xhaka, and he asked if you think he's going to be at the Arsenal beyond this season, Kev.
I do, Colin, if I'm honest. I do. I think the way Granit Xhaka has been this season, and I've got to say, Sophie, the documentary there, shone a bit different light on Xhaka, didn't it? Shone a little bit of a different light on Xhaka, and he was willing to take things on his own shoulders. And as he said, I'll take it. You guys, you don't take it on your shoulders. Everything that Granit will take it. That's what a senior player does. So, do I see him being at the club longer? I actually do. I do see him being at the club next season as well, because I think he's one of those experienced players who can't knock it. It's the best I've seen him play, Soph.
I mean, he's been great this season.
For all of his Arsenal career, this is the best I've seen him play. So,
Go figure.
fair play to him.
Yeah, I think he'll stay, and why not? I mean, in this team, he does a good job. I know that some Arsenal fans still have issue, and you know, I just don't think you should have issue when there's nothing to have an issue about. Right now, he's doing quite well, and it was really cool that he captained the team last Thursday, and it wasn't even part of the narrative, Kev, about him wearing the armband. It was kind of refreshing. To be honest, and if there's one thing I guess Arteta's done well is maybe he's helped restore Xhaka's image through the football. And
let the football do the talking.
I think that's a really, really big deal. Xhaka, not Saka. Danny, do you listen to any Spurs channels, sweetheart? It's okay. You can stay. You can stay here and listen to championship trophy winning talk. Takes a long time to polish our trophy cabinet. My goodness, must be exhausted. Takes as much time to paint the Golden Gate Bridge as it does to polish Arsenal's trophy cabinet.
Yeah, but they've got to polish. They've got to polish the glass.
Right, that's a sign to go because the coffee's coming back. Kev, it's been a brilliant show. Maybe I should have called it mellow.
It's gone too quick.
It was more mellow Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, to give Ricky my love. Ricky Sachs is a good friend of the show, as is Chris Cowlin, actually. So yeah, send them my love. Anthony Costa, also another good friend of the show. I mean, there's so many spuds that love this show. What can I say?
Oh, good. Listen,
no, they're good lads. I love those lads.
And you know what? We are rivals, of course, but those you mentioned, good lads.
They are good lads. They are, and they'll be on when we do the North London derby. It's going to be fun. Right, that's it, Kev. Tomorrow is going to be a fun show. I promised you. We're going to predict our next 5 games. Okay, and watch out because I'm going to have some predictions from some other key influencers that you may love via video as well. So predicting the next 5 games. Come, have your voice heard. Don't want to hear it now. Save it for tomorrow night, and we'll have a little bit of fun. So be back here or be square, 8 p.m. All right, knuckleheads. I love you. I'm going to hand it over to Kev now.
Sophie loves you. I even love you too. I don't like Newman's art, but I love you. All right, everyone. Listen, look after yourself. Tell your loved ones you love them. And take good care of yourselves no matter where you are in the world. Newman, I love that score, but it's too high. It's too high, Newman. Anyway, look after yourself, squaddies. Take good care. And as Tammy just put up, at ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The Highbury Squad is powered by ZENITH Coins. Support the future, treasure the past. Official licence partner of the Arsenal Football Club. Follow at ZENITH Coins across all social platforms.